This video is about how to get from the Krakow Airport to the Krakow Glowny main train station in the city center. The airport is about 7 miles from the city center, or 12 kilometers. If you go by car, it might be a little bit longer, maybe 8 or 9 miles, because it's not a straight shot. The best way to go is by train. And if you look at this next map, you'll see that the train station is really close to the city center. Sometimes when you look at a map, you're not really sure how far away it really is, but when you get there, you see that the train station is really like 2 blocks from the outer ring, the park-like outer ring of the city center. And from the train station to about the middle of the city center is about 6/10 of a mile or 1 kilometer. So not far at all. You can easily walk there as long as you don't have too much luggage, of course. So here is a video of me leaving the train right at the airport. On the left, you can see the Krakow Airport, and it's not that big, and there is a walkway that goes over the street to the train station at the airport, and it's the only train station there. In other words, it's the last stop. So the train comes in, it stops for a few minutes, and then it goes back out the same way it came. So it's very easy to find. One word about that, though, is that sometimes Google Maps gives you not so good directions. For instance, when I was planning this trip, I didn't know about this train because when I searched for directions on Google Maps, it told me to take the Leo Express bus. And so it had me taking one bus to the city center, the bus station, which is right part of the main train station, and then taking another bus to get to where my Airbnb apartment was. So I had this all planned out, and when I got to Krakow Airport, I asked somebody at the information desk, I guess, where the bus was or something along those lines, or where the street for the bus was or something. And he just pointed me and said, "There's the train, take the train." That's how you get there. And so I followed the little corridor and got to the train, and sure enough, I mean, it goes right to the city center. It only cost about $2.50, and it was really quick. You don't have to change any trains or anything like that. And it's, like I said, it's the only train that comes in there, so there's no question about if it's going to your stop or not. The only thing you should be wary about is, one, there was only like 1 or 2 ticket machines on the station, electronic ticket machines. So when a plane comes in, a lot of people are all going to the station at the same time, and so there might be a line to get a ticket, and you might miss one of the trains coming in and out because there's a long line, and generally a lot of the people there don't really know how to use the ticket machine, including myself. So the problem I had was it I was using a credit card, and it was asking me for the PIN number for my credit card, which I don't even know because I never use a PIN number. And so I was trying to buy the ticket without it, and I thought I did, and it printed out what I thought was a receipt or a ticket, and apparently it was just something saying that my transaction failed. So I actually tried to give that to the conductor on the train when they came looking for tickets. I gave it to her, and she looked at it and said, "What is this?" I said, "I thought it was a ticket." And she said, "No, this means your transaction didn't go through." And so I either had to pay her right there on the spot in zlotys, Polish zlotys, which I didn't have yet because I had just gotten to Poland, or there is another electronic ticket machine on the train itself. And so I went and gave it another shot to try to figure out how to buy a ticket, and I still was having a problem. And luckily, somebody saw me struggling and came up and helped me do it. And they spoke English and they did it for me. And so I finally got the ticket and I went back to the conductor and I showed it to her. And so everything was cool. It only cost about $2.50, like I said, and it takes you all the way right to the main train station. So um, I would definitely take that instead of taking a bus or even a Uber or whatever. And this is some of the video that I took when I was on the train, just because to me it was interesting because I always wonder what it looks like between the airport and the city. Is it all city? Is it kind of rural or what? And in the case of Krakow, it looks really rural. It looks almost like farmland and very few in between houses. It reminds me a little bit of something like upstate New York or somewhere in the south of the United States or something along those lines. Very green, uh, a lot of trees, a lot of grass, but not a lot of construction, not a lot of houses. Although I did see that there was a lot of construction going on in Krakow in different places along the train lines and things, so they are definitely growing and expanding, but from what seems like a small base, because near the airport it was really pretty rural looking. When you get closer to the city center, then you start to see more like a kind of suburban kind of area. It's not quite rural, not quite city, somewhere kind of in between, which to me looks like a pretty nice place to live. I don't know that much about it, just from what I saw driving by. But it looks pretty nice from what I can see. I don't know how the access is to get into the city or whatever, but if you're not going to the old town every day or partying or whatever, those outlying areas that are only, probably 2-3 miles out of the city look like some pretty nice suburban type areas. Once you get to the actual Krakow Glowny Station, you can see it's a pretty big station, and if you're not really sure, you see that most of the people with luggage are getting off there, so it's a good indication that you've reached the main train station there. But there are some signs, so um, the station is a big station. It's also a bus station, and from this station you could also get on trains to go to farther destinations like Warsaw. You can also go to the salt mines from the station also. So you'll be using it again if you're traveling in Poland, probably. And one of the cool things about this station is that one, it's really close to the city center, which is awesome because you could just walk if you have an apartment anywhere near there. Um, Unless you have a lot of luggage, then there's plenty of taxis around. I took a taxi because I didn't know where I was going really or how to get there. So I took a taxi and it cost me about $10 and it was about a mile and a half west of the train station, kind of like right on the outer ring of the city center there. So not too bad, but if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have taken a taxi. I would have just grabbed one of these Wayvelo city bikes that are really cheap to sign up for and really cheap to use. And I would have just grabbed one of the bikes there and rode over because the bikes are all over the place. They're easy to get, they're cheap, and Krakow's a good city to ride bike in. It's pretty bike friendly, I would say. So on my way back, leaving my Airbnb apartment. That's exactly what I did. I just put my backpack on and grabbed one of these bikes and rode over to the train station. It took me probably, I don't know, 10, 12 minutes or something like that. So much better than taking a taxi. But I probably could have walked even. It's that close. So train station is really central to everything. And on top of that, it has a really nice new mall attached to the train station. And so you can get something to eat there. Although there are places to eat inside the train station, but also you can get a SIM card for your cell phone when you get to Krakow. I went to Orange and I got a SIM card that lasted me, I think it was good for the month, and it only cost me like $6 or something like that with a few gigs of data. So if you're taking the train there, it's a good place to go and get a SIM card for your cell phone to have data and phone calls and text messaging while you're in Poland. So that's pretty much the end of this video, and I guess the takeaway here is take the train from the airport. It's really easy. Make sure you have some either Polish zlotys, or you know how to use that credit card machine without having to put your PIN in there. And the train station, the Krakow Glowny Train Station, is really central to everything, so you may not even need to take a taxi from where you need to go to from the train station, or sign up ahead of time for Wayvelo Bikes, the city bike program, so that you're already registered and you can get a bike and go as soon as you get to the train station, so you don't even need to take a taxi. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you.